Well, joining me now, we have Massachusetts Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. She serves on the House Oversight and Financial Services Committees. Welcome, Congresswoman. I'm glad you're here. Since the killing of Renee Good, we have seen multiple ICE attacks on protesters and citizen observers, with ICE officers using flash grenades, tear gas, rubber bullets to try to disperse the demonstrators. President Trump said today the protesters include highly paid professional agitators and anarchists. And there are reports, as you've heard, that 1,500 active duty soldiers are preparing for possible deployment to Minnesota. How do you respond to what's happening in Minneapolis? Ma'am, can you turn your audio on? I think it might be off. There you go.
What is undeniable is that ICE is a rogue agency that is terrorizing our communities. It is killing our neighbors. I want to extend my sympathies to Renee Good's family, a loving mother, an artist, a concerned community member who was a U.S. citizen in a residential community that was murdered in broad daylight with shots fired at close range into her vehicle. What is happening now is, neighbors that are saying we are going to center the humanity of all of our neighbors and defend our neighbors and our community in the face of the rogue and racist actions of ICE. And I want to say about Kristi Noem, what a dangerous cocktail of authority, bigotry, and incompetence. She should resign or needs to be impeached. But she is a danger, and ICE is a threat and a danger to every person that calls this country home. And finally, this is why I've introduced the Qualified Immunity Abolition Act, because these federal officers must be held accountable. There can never be justice, because justice would mean that Renee Good would still be alive. It means that Keith Porter in California would still be alive. It means Silverio Gonzalez in Chicago would still be alive. There can never be justice, but there must be accountability. And in the same way that we have accountability for doctors when there's medical malpractice, or lawyers when there's negligence, there must be the same accountability for federal law enforcement when they act with callous disregard for human life with impunity.
Let me drill down into what it is that you and Senator Ed Markey have done with this bill. It grants citizens the right to sue federal law enforcement officers for civil rights violations. And if it passes, it will end qualified immunity, and that protects officers who engage in misconduct from civil liability. So as we witness this aggressive and many would say illegal actions by ICE in American cities, what do you hope is the effect of this bill?
Well, again, the history here. ICE has only been in existence since 2003. And when I ran for Congress in 2018, I've been calling for the abolishment of ICE. We see what's happening right now where they're terrorizing communities, but it's also what's happening behind the wall with ICE, people that are dying in custody. So this agency must be abolished. In the meantime, we need to pursue accountability. And what I hope will happen is that people will link arms and join with us in defense of our neighbors, in defense of our communities. And if there cannot be justice, because justice would mean that all those lives we've been robbed of, they would still be with us. But there must be accountability.
But as you know, this legislation was originally introduced 2020. It followed the murder of George Floyd. It was reintroduced last year, but it did fail on both occasions, and it still faces some pretty steep Republican opposition right now. Beyond sending a message, what steps can you take to move this legislation, or at least critical parts of it, through this divided Congress?
Well, I'm at two tracks here. First of all, again, we need to abolish the ICE. Kristi Noem needs to resign or be impeached. We need public hearings to continue to shine a light on this crisis and these rogue actions. We need to use the power of the purse and appropriations to rein ICE in. And we need to pass this legislation. And so I hope that my colleagues will move as people of conscience and hear the outcry from their constituents, because this harm, this authoritarianism, the rogue, unlawful, unconscionable, unconstitutional actions of ICE. They do not care if you are a citizen. They don't care if you're undocumented. They don't care if you're indigenous, Black, brown, Asian, LGBTQ, disabled, young, old, or white. This harm is coming for everyone, and we have to stop it.
Where does the move to impeach Kristi Noem stand right now among your House colleagues? I mean, we've had some moderate Democrats who don't think it is the best way to do it. Many have said, we hope she will resign. There's, of course, no indication that she intends to. So the impeachment movement stands where?
I think everything is on the table, and we are just going to be exhausting every tool available. Again, she's a dangerous cocktail of bigotry and incompetence, and she is dangerous, both in her rhetoric and in her policies.
Well, and again, listening to what you've just said, you accuse ICE of being a rogue agency that is, quote, ravaging our communities, brutalizing families, killing our neighbors. And you've called for the agency to be abolished, of course, and several times on this interview. But can ICE be reformed, or does this moment demand a completely fundamental rethink of the agency's authority? Are Democrats prepared to use the government funding deadline, perhaps, at the end of the month, to force new rules for DHS agents?
Well, Congress does have the power of the purse, and we should use appropriations to rein in ICE. We need to use every tool available to us. ICE cannot be reformed. This is not about protocols and standards. This is about a systemic culture that has been existing for many, many years. It has just in this moment been emboldened and is on steroids because of who currently occupies the Oval Office.
Let's look ahead to tomorrow. As you know, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and Tuesday marks 1 year since President Trump was sworn into office for a second time. And last month, the administration removed MLK Day, as well as Juneteenth, from the calendar of entrance fee-free days for national parks, though it added President Trump's birthday to the list, that one in June. What are your thoughts on the legacy of Dr. King 1 year into Trump's second term?
Yeah, it's hard to believe that Trump's inauguration was the same day as Dr. King's birthday, when he represents everything that is antithetical to MLK. But, you know, I don't want to give that man any oxygen. I want to instead center the movement that still exists, that Dr. King was an architect of. I'm focused in this moment, while this hostile administration is attacking Black people, Black bodies, Black votes, Black power, Black progress, Black history. I'm focused on the blueprint that Dr. King gave us. And, you know, Dr. King said that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. And I believe that. I believe in the power of this movement, which is still very much alive because we are still very much in the civil rights movement. And we have seen that movement rise up in public outcry with Elon Musk and Doge. There were no King's rallies, and we sent them running. We have seen that movement rise up and demand a full release of the Epstein files. We have seen that movement rise up in defense of our immigrant neighbors. We've seen that movement, everyday people doing extraordinary things. And that is all a testament to the life and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
I hope you have a chance to celebrate him tomorrow as well. Take some time to ponder all that you've shared with us. Massachusetts Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, thank you so much for your time.